guys, welcome to the inaugural episode of Lock's Nest Collections. So a lot of people have been messaging me, Facebook, Instagram, asking to see what's in my collection because I've never really done a collection video aside from a few game room tours. So I decided to start this instead of bogging down the main channel and just have this secondary channel doing maybe 1-2 episodes a month depending on how I feel. So people are asking what's in your SNES collection, obviously. What do you have on NES? Like, what do you have in your Vita collection, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, and, you know, every system, what kind of consoles you have. So this entire series, this channel, is just going to be dedicated to what's in my collection, and I'll put a date at the bottom because the collection's always ever growing. And you can tell by the magnet setup behind me on my dishwasher that the first episode is going to be all of my Nintendo Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. So what I want to do is show you what I have, maybe some titles to look out for, and I'll give you a little history in each episode. So without further ado, guys, this is Lock's Nest Collections. Thanks for stopping by.
The Game Boy is an 8-bit handheld video game device developed and manufactured by Nintendo. It was released in Japan April 21st, 1989, in North America July 31st, 1989, and in Europe on September 28th, 1990. It was the first handheld console in the Game Boy line and was created by Nintendo Research and Development 1, the same staff who had designed the Game & Watch series, as well as several other popular games for Nintendo. Redesigned versions were released in 96 and 98 in the form of the Game Boy Pocket and Game Boy Light, Japan only, respectively. The Game Boy is Nintendo's second handheld system following the Game & Watch series introduced in 1980, and it combined features from both the NES and Game & Watch. It was originally bundled with the puzzle game Tetris. As part of the fourth generation of gaming, the Game Boy competed with the Sega Game Gear, Atari Lynx, and the Turbo Express. Despite these other handheld consoles being in color, the Game Boy was a tremendous success. The Game Boy and its successor, the Game Boy Color, have both combined to sell over 118 million units worldwide. Upon its release in the United States, it sold its entire shipment of 1 million units within the first few weeks.
So here's the stack of Game Boy games, the Pokemon Pinball, my small collection of Game Boy Colors, all the Pokemon, one Japanese Pokemon game, and all the systems. Let's take a closer look at each of them. And starting with the Game Boy Color games, because it's a smaller part of the collection, we have Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Mario Tennis, Casino, ECW Hardcore Revolution, 007 The World Is Not Enough, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, Dragon Ball Z, 1942, Knockout Kings, Dragon Warrior 3, X-Men Mutant Wars, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Winnie the Pooh Adventures. Going through the first round, 2 Hyankee Aliens, 2 Castlevania Adventures, Flipple, Pinball, Football, The Addams Family, the Nintendo Game & Watch Gallery 3, and 3 Kirby's Dream Lands. Next set of 6, Game & Watch Gallery, WrestleMania 2000, Frogger, Star Trek The Next Generation, Disney's The Little Mermaid, and Home Alone. Next round of 8, Tetris Attack, Street Fighter 2, Game Boy Color, Tetris DX, which I think is also a Japanese game, Battle Arena, Lemmings, Bugs Bunny and Crazy Carrot, Hello Kitty, and Gargoyles, which is an awesome game, probably my second favorite game on the system. Next set, 4 Tetris, and that just comes with collecting Game Boys, Burger Time, and Blades of Steel, which until recently I didn't know that was on the Game Boy, and this was actually a gift from Water Music Retro. Thanks again, man. Next set of 8, 2 Dr. Marios, Double Dragon 3, Metroid 2, Bomberman GB, 2 Bubble Ghost, and this one, I'm not entirely sure what it is because it actually didn't work when I picked it up from a flea market. This is Roland's Curse. Next 7, 4 Super Mario Lands, again just from coming with collecting Game Boys, and this is my favorite game on the system, along with Donkey Kong Land 2, Double Dragon, and another Star Trek game. And to round it out, I have 4 Super Mario Land, the 6 Golden Coins, Super Mario Land 2, which is another really solid game for the Game Boy. The odd-shaped game is Pokemon Pinball, and it needs a AAA battery. My one Japanese Game Boy Color game is Pokemon Silver. I bought it mainly for its aesthetic look. It came in a very nice box, comes with the manual, and I picked this up on eBay, I guess like 3 or 4 years ago for about $7. My Pokemon games, I don't know why I keep these ones in the case, I just do. Pokemon Red, my original one. Pokemon Blue, one of them is my original. Pokemon Silver, Pokemon Gold, and 2 Pokemon Yellow Pikachu editions. And of course the handheld itself, the one in the middle is my original Game Boy, and the 2 others are just some that I had picked. And of course the Nintendo Game Boy itself. This one right here in the middle is my original Game Boy. I have 3 in the collection, and this is the jack that we had to put in for the link to the smaller, newer Game Boy Color and Pocket. And the Game Boy Colors, I have 4 different variations, from a light blue, purple, yellow to this teal color. And the Game Boy Pockets, these are the ones that used AAA batteries. This was a thinner screen, and it went from the pea soup color to a nice actual black on gray color. I have the see-through, the black, and the see-through lime. The one accessory I have, with the exception of the link cable, is the Game Boy camera, which is kind of functional. You know, it still works. You can see it on the screen. Unfortunately, I don't have the printer to print out the little stickers. And to go along with that, not actually an accessory of the system itself. This was more paired with the Super Nintendo. It's the Super Game Boy, which, if you're playing at home, I suggest this is the way you play your Game Boy games. It looks great on a big screen. You can use a controller. This is my preferred way to play Game Boy. But of course, it is a handheld, so it's great to take on the go.
Game Boy accessories. So this is just a short list of Game Boy accessories that I know offhand. This doesn't include everything that came out in North America or Japan. So there was the Game Boy camera and printer, the Super Game Boy, the transfer pack, the Game Link cable, the Game Boy battery pack, and the Handy Boy, which to this day I'm still looking for. And if you want to hurt your wallet, these are some games to look out for. Trip World, Amazing Tater, Spud's Adventure, Mega Man 5 and 6, Kid Dracula, Mr. Do, NIV Bible, Snow Bros Jr., Shantae, and Magical Chase.
And that's going to do it for this first episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and found it maybe a little informative. Next episode will be on the Sega Game Gear. And then after that, anything you put in the comments, as long as I have some sort of collection of it, I'll show it to you guys if you ask for it. And don't forget, for the first 50 subscribers to the new channel, we'll be doing a little giveaway. I'm not sure what it is yet, but as long as you like, comment, and are a new subscriber to this channel, you'll be entered in the contest. Until next time, guys, Loch's Nest signing off. Take care. The Nintendo Game Boy. So I'm going to pull out a little bit here, and we all know how I feel about pulling out. Hey-oh!